name, sir?
Richard Louis Burdett.
Burdett, you are charged with 6 counts of organized retail theft. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. I need to let you know you do have a right to remain silent to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearings. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Mr. Poston?
Your Honor, it appears that Poston, you had it right the first time, Judge.
Yeah.
There appears again to be grounds for no bond, as in the defendant was on release for a previous case.
All right, Mr. Burdett, the law is if you're on have a pending felony case and you're arrested on new felony charges, you're not entitled to bond under the Arizona Constitution. So you're going to be held without bond. Actually, defense counsel, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, defense counsel.
Yeah, there's no grounds for no bond. He was not on release for a case. This case is actually older than the case that he just got a bond on back in September 22nd. That he was seen on. The date of the offense was September 20th, 2024. The date of these offenses are September 14th, 2020. So he wasn't on release.
All right.
Judge, I stand corrected. State notes the recidivist nature of these crimes and asks for a $25,000 bond.
Ms. Defense counsel.
He's already being held on a $5,000 bond, Your Honor. Like I said, that was imposed back in September 22nd, almost a couple weeks ago. He still hasn't been able to pay that. So given his financial status, he's 43 years old. These are considered non-violent offenses. We'd be asking for an additional $5,000 bond.
Mr. Burdett, your bond set at $5,000. No going back to the store locations or the incident locations. Mark Evans is your appointed counsel. Your preliminary hearing is October 14th at 1:30 p.m. Your attorney will be in touch with you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
What is your full name, sir?
Chan Abney.
What is your middle name, please?
Brian.
All right, looks like you had a felony warrant for your arrest for a charge of unlawful flight from a law enforcement vehicle. The alleged incident date was from August 1st of 2022. I am going to quash that warrant, enter plea of not guilty, let you know you do have a constitutional right to remain silent and to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. Deputy County Attorney, what is your recommendation?
Your Honor, this is an out-of-state warrant. The state didn't file a specific recommendation. State moves that the bond be said whatever the warrant amount for the out-of-state warrant is.
All right, so it looks like this is a county case, Pima County case, and they didn't list a bond amount. So, Mr. Abney, I'm going to release you to the supervision of pretrial services. You must comply with any monitoring treatment as directed by pretrial services. You're not allowed to drink any alcohol or take any illegal drugs while in your release status. The public defender's office is appointed to represent you. Your arraignment date is going to be October 10th at 1:30 p.m. You must be in court next week. If you are not, a warrant will issue again for your arrest. Mr. Abney, you also had 4 cases in warrant status out of city court, and 3 of the charges involving false reporting to law enforcement, disorderly conduct. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty, quash those warrants. Mr. Abney, you cannot pick up new charges. You're on release now on a felony case. You must appear in city court November 4th at 2:30 p.m. If you don't appear, the warrants will issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You're excused.
Your Honor, I'm the Superior Court case. That's actual 2507. It's a failure to appear.
I'm sorry, what does that mean?
You won't get seen until tomorrow by Superior Court at 10:30 a.m.
On another matter?
No, on the Superior Court case.
What do you mean he won't be seen till tomorrow? I just saw him. Let me see, what do they have here?
We have him as a misdemeanor today.
Yes, yes, Your Honor. I have him as a misdemeanor as well, which is why the state didn't prepare anything.
Sorry? Sorry?
Your Honor, I have this listed as a misdemeanor as well, hence the reason. And when you mentioned it was a felony in county, I confused it with a different one. I apologize.
I have a warrant here. It says the class 5 felony unlawful flight from law enforcement. The alleged incident date was August 1st, 2022, case number 242022.
I make court.
332. And the warrant was issued by Judge Ortiz on September 10th of 2024. So I have a minute entry that I filled out. So he should not be seen on the felony or no? So the jail, what's the situation then? Because he was served with this warrant on today's date.
That's correct, Your Honor. It's kind of like a probation violation. It's one of those cases that don't get seen.
Your Honor, it was FTA for trial. He's past arraignment.
The Superior Court will make a decision in the morning, and then his attorney will be there to argue bond.
All right, hold on. Let me talk to the clerk. What do I do? It says save changes, publish, scan, close, print, delete. Okay, delete. All right, I'm going to delete this minute entry. Never mind what I said about the felony charge. All right, thank you. What is your name, sir?
Chad Johansson.
And sir, you are charged with 3 counts of organized retail theft. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. I need to let you know you do have a right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you, representing you for this evening's hearing. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I will hear from your attorney. And Mr. Johansson, what is your middle name?
Mikkel.
Thank you. Mr. Pawson?
Your Honor, what it appears like here is this individual has a fugitive warrant out of New Mexico. The state seems to recall this individual from last month. And when he was released, and despite the fugitive warrant, he ended up picking up a new case, excuse me. The state does notice extensive prison time, minimal time between cases. It looks like he's released, and within a month or so, there's another case. That said, Your Honor, extensive failure to appear. State believes there is no basis for no bond under 133856.
Defense counsel.
Your Honor, we objection to the no bond. We're just asking for a hearing as soon as possible.
Mr. County Attorney, you were asking to be held without bond?
That's correct.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Johansson, you're going to be held without bond. Your first hearing is a no bond hearing on October 8th at 2:30 p.m. Your preliminary hearing is set to October 14th at 1:30 p.m. The legal defender's office is appointed to represent you, and you are not allowed to go back to any of the store locations or have any contact with the victims. Thank you.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Your Honor, I do see a note from Mr. Brooks stating there's a fugitive warrant and there's you need a retail theft IC on that one. Well, that's the no bond, so disregard. I apologize, Your Honor.
No problem. Thank you, Mr. Johansson. You're excused. What is your full name, please?
Melissa Ambrose.
Ms. Burrell, you're charged with unlawful possession of a drug paraphernalia charge. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. I am going to release you on this charge. Set your next court date for an arraignment date out of Justice Court on November 4th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. Make sure you appear. If you do not, a warrant will issue for your arrest. You are excused. Thank you. And I'll let him know that you're in custody on another case. Thank you.
Right there, Richard.
Thank you.
What is your
Good
full
evening,
name?
Judge.
What is your full name?
Frida Diane Bodine.
Okay, hold on a second.
Or we're receiving Miss Holger right now, Your Honor.
Bodine, you're charged with one count of assault. I'm going to enter a plea of not guilty. I will release you. Do not commit to any further acts. Your next court date is going to be in Tucson City Court, November 5th at 1:30 p.m. Make sure you appear. If you do not, a warrant will issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
Thank you. You're excused. What is your name, please?
Randy. Randy Ulmer.
All right, hold on a second. Miss Ulmer, it looks like you had a warrant for your arrest out of Marana City Court. It was for a charge of drug paraphernalia. I'm going to quash the warrant, release you on that charge. October 30th at 10 a.m. is your next court date in Marana City Court. You also have a new charge out of Justice Court for 2 separate charges of shoplifting, resisting arrest, and refusing to provide your true name. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. I will release you on those charges. Your next court date is going to be in Justice Court for an arraignment, November 4th at 8:30 a.m. You must be present in court. And then you had 3 cases in warrant status out of City Court, 2 charges involving drug paraphernalia, the other case involving criminal trespass in a 3rd degree. Ms. Ulmer, you have 3 different court hearings in 3 different courts. You have to make your hearing dates. If you don't make your hearing dates, more warrants will issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, your court date in City Court, November 4th at 9 a.m. I'm going to release you and trust that you're going to show up this time. You are excused. Thank you. What is your full name, please?
Robert Wayne, Delphin Gall Sr.
All right. Looks like you had some warrants for your arrest and a new charge of drug paraphernalia from today's date. You actually had 2 charges of drug paraphernalia from today's date. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty to those charges. Let you know on the new charge, you do have a right to be represented by an attorney if you can hire an attorney, or you can represent yourself on these charges. You have a right to have a bench trial for these charges, which is a trial before a judge. You have a right to be present at all future hearing dates. And if you fail to appear for any future court dates and you're out of custody, a warrant could issue for your arrest, and new charges of failing to appear in court could be added to your case. Future hearings could be held in your absence other than sentencing. And if you're found guilty of any charge and you're not here for your trial, and you don't appear for your sentencing within 90 days, you'll lose your right to appeal your case to a higher court. You also had 5 other cases in warrant status. I'm going to quash those warrants, enter pleas of not guilty. Because of the multiple cases in this matter on 5 cases, I'm going to set your bond at $500 so you can be seen by a judge sooner than later. I'm going to appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you. Your next hearing date is going to be in City Court, October 11th at 1:45 p.m. And your attorney will be in touch with you soon. Thank you. You are excused.
Your Honor, can I ask you about the felony?
No, I am not here, only on the misdemeanor matter. You'll have to talk to your attorney about the felony matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
What is your full name, please?
Lopez Sanchez.
All right, I'm going to let you know you are charged with 1 count of assault, disorderly conduct. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. I am going to release you, but I understand that you're on probation on a felony matter. So I'm going to order that you have no contact with Giovanni. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Can I also first have a restriction order put as well?
I'm not here about that. I'm letting you know you cannot have contact with him. Do not commit to any further acts of domestic violence. Your next court date for these new charges is in City Court, November 5th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. And you better let your probation officer know you got picked up on new charges as soon as you get out of custody. Thank you. You're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sanchez,
Sir, what is your full name, please?
Francisco Victor Mejia.
All right, thank you. Your attorney would like to speak with you for a moment. That's fine.
Thank you, Your Honor. We're ready.
Mr. Mejia, you are charged with 1 count of 3 counts of disorderly conduct with a deadly weapon. I am going to enter pleas of not guilty. I need to let you know that you do have a right to remain silent and to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for tonight's hearing. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Deputy County Attorney.
Your Honor, this individual is charged, and the court has seen the interim complaint, I trust. This was an incredibly violent, as well as a subsequent assault with a deadly weapon on other members of his family, it would appear, or at the very least, persons that fit within the DV statute. His prior felony convictions to include theft, burglary, trespass, burglary, 3, and has spent upwards of 9 years in the Department of Corrections. Your Honor, the state believes this person is in continual high risk to the victim. He is he is a yes to the NVCA flag, and based on information in the IC, he does not have a known residence, which makes him a flight risk, $100,000.
County PD.
Thank you, Your Honor. So we'd be asking for a much lower bond in this case. He does have housing away from the victims. He's been living with his landlord. As the victim acknowledged, he does use drugs, and a lot of these behaviors stem from his drug use. So the state noted that he has a significant prison record. So his financial history is not great, given that he's been spending most of his life behind bars. He doesn't have a lot of wealth accumulated. So given those factors, Your Honor, we'd be asking for a $20,000 bond.
Mr. Mejia, your bond set at $70,000. No contact with the victim, your wife. Do not call her. Do not text her. Do not write to her. You are not allowed, if you get out of custody, to where she lives or works. Do not commit any further acts of domestic violence. Possess no firearms or weapons. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. October 14, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. is your preliminary hearing. Thank you. You're excused. What is your full name, please?
Joseph John Martinez.
Are you a junior?
Yes.
All right, looks like you had some warrants for your arrest. One case was at a Green Valley Justice Court for a reckless burning charge. The alleged incident date was from November 23rd of 2023. I am going to quash the warrant, release you on this charge. Set your next court date in Green Valley on October 10th at 8:30 a.m. If you're out of custody, you have to be present for that hearing. You also had a case at a justice court, new charge of criminal trespass in a 3rd degree from today's date. I am going to enter plea of, let's see, hold on a second. Let me talk to the clerk here. So on Joseph, it says it's Saurita, but he doesn't have a Saurita case. His case, oh, it is from Saurita. Okay, never mind. All right, so that case out of Saurita is for criminal trespass in a 3rd degree. I am going to enter plea of not guilty, release you on that matter. Your next court date is going to be in Saurita, October 29th at 8:30 a.m. And you're not allowed to go back to the Walmart in Saurita. While this case is pending, you're not allowed to go to any Saurita Walmart. And then you had a case out of city court, and it looks like you keep failing to appear in city court for your hearings. You didn't show up for your arraignment February 6th. You didn't show up for court on June 28th of this year. You were released from custody, and again, you didn't show up August 23rd. I'm going to hold you on a small bond. It's $100 secured. City Public Defender's Office.
In the hospital.
All right. October 11th at 1:45 p.m. is your next court date in city court, and your public defender will see you in custody. Thank you. What is your full name, please?
Tu nombre,
Manuel Gámez.
tu nombre entero.
Manuel Gámez.
The interpreter is having a hard time understanding, Your Honor.
Yeah, I need you to say your name
Señor juez.
slower.
Necesito que usted dice su nombre entero un poco más lento, por favor. Despacio.
José Manuel Gámez.
You gotta speak up.
José Manuel Gámez.
The mic, speaking to the mic. Aquí.
No.
Bueno, I'm hearing Gámez is the last name.
José Manuel Gámez.
José Luis Gámez.
All right, you
José Manuel Gámez.
speak English or you speak Spanish?
Señor, hable el inglés o el español.
Español.
Spanish.
You're not listed as Spanish speaking, but you speak Spanish only?
Usted aquí en la lista, no dice que usted habla el español, pero únicamente habla el español.
Sí.
Yes.
All right. You had a warrant for your arrest at a justice court for a shoplifting and drug paraphernalia case from June 6th of 2024.
Señor, había un caso de ratería, hay una orden de arresto para un caso del Tribunal de Justicia de ratería y armenículos de droga que sucedió el 24 de junio del año 2024.
I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty.
Estoy entablando declaraciones de no culpable.
I will release you on that charge only.
Lo voy a dejar en libertad en cuanto a este cargo y únicamente este cargo.
Your next court date in justice courts November 4th at 8:30 a.m.
Próxima audiencia en el Tribunal de Justicia el 4 de noviembre a las 8:30 de la mañana.
You also had new charges out of city court.
Y también nuevos cargos que salen del Tribunal de la Ciudad.
You have new charges of shoplifting, criminal trespass, criminal damage, drug paraphernalia.
Tiene nuevos cargos de ratería de tiendas, entrada ilícita, criminal trespass. The second criminal was daños y perjuicios y luego armenículos de droga.
I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty to those charges.
Estoy entablando declaraciones de no culpable en cuanto a sus cargos.
Let you know on those new charges, you do have a right to counsel if you can hire counsel or if you qualify for an attorney.
Bueno, señor, para que sepa, en cuanto a sus nuevos cargos, usted sí tiene derecho a que alguien lo represente y puede pagar el abogado o si reúne los requisitos para que le paguen un abogado.
For the shoplifting charge, you're entitled to have a trial by jury.
En cuanto al cargo de ratería de tienda, usted tiene derecho a tener un juicio ante un jurado.
You also have a right to be present for all future hearing dates.
También tiene el derecho a estar presente para todas las audiencias posteriores a esta.
You also, if you're out of custody and you do not show up for your hearing dates, a warrant could issue for your arrest.
Señor, también si usted está fuera de custodia, si usted está en libertad condicional y no comparece para sus audiencias en el futuro, se va a emitir una orden de arresto.
And a new charge of failure to appear could be added to your case.
Y un nuevo cargo de incomparecencia se puede agregar al caso de usted.
And all proceedings may be held in your absence other than a sentencing hearing.
Y todos los procesos se pueden celebrar en su ausencia con excepción de una audiencia de imposición de sentencia.
If you're found guilty at a trial of any charge, you may lose your right to appeal your case if you don't appear for sentencing within 90 days of your conviction.
Y si en algún momento determinan que usted es culpable en un juicio, por un juicio, usted puede perder su derecho a una apelación directa si usted no comparece dentro de 90 días de la condena, para que le pongan la imposición de sentencia.
You also had 6 other cases in warrant status.
Señor, también tiene 6 casos más que están en con órdenes de arresto.
for charges involving shoplifting, drug paraphernalia, criminal trespass.
Los cargos tienen que ver con ratería de tienda, manípulo de drogas y entrada ilícita.
I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty and quash the warrants.
Estoy entablando declaraciones de no culpable y estoy anulando las órdenes de arresto.
Your next hearing date is going to be in City Court, October 11th at 1:45 p.m.
Próxima audiencia se celebrará en el Tribunal de la Ciudad el 11 de octubre a la 1:45 de la tarde.
And I'm going to appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you.
Y voy a nombrar a la oficina del defensor público de la ciudad para representarlo.
You're excused. Thank you.
Ya con eso, señor, se puede retirar. Gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you.
What is your name, please?
Una vez más, puede empezar así más despacio, por favor, y si me puede esperar.
What's your last name?
Su apellido, señor. Nieves.
Is it Niaz Melendez?
Su apellido Nieves Meléndez. Señor, interpreter is asking him to please wait for me to interpret. Should I ask if he wants a Spanish interpreter, Your Honor?
He does need one.
Okay. I'm going to ask if it's okay if he can wait.
Yeah, that's fine.
Señor, le voy a decir que por favor espere hasta que hable, hasta que yo termine, ¿sí? Después quiere saber si tiene dos apellidos, Meléndez Nieves, o nada más su apellido es Nieves.
Nieves Meléndez.
Nieves Meléndez is his last name.
Sí.
You are charged with criminal trespass in a third degree, drug paraphernalia possession, and refusing to provide your true name.
Señor, se le acusa de entrada ilícita en el tercer grado, manípulos de drogas y también negarse a dar su nombre verdadero a un oficial del orden público.
I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty.
Estoy entablando declaraciones de no culpable.
Let you know you do have a right to be represented by an attorney, and if you're eligible for a court-appointed attorney at your next hearing date, you can see if you qualify for one.
Necesito decirle que usted tiene derecho a que lo representen un abogado, y si usted reúne los requisitos, puede solicitar un abogado de oficio en la próxima audiencia.
You have a right to have a bench trial in your case.
Tiene derecho a un juicio ante un juez en el caso de usted, señor.
You have a right to be present at all future proceedings.
Tiene derecho de estar presente en todas las audiencias futuras.
If you fail to appear for your next hearing day or any hearings, a warrant could issue for your arrest.
Si no comparece para su próxima audiencia o cualquier audiencia en el futuro, se emitirá una orden de arresto.
And new charges could be added to your case.
Y pueden agregar nuevos cargos a su caso.
And if I am going to release you on this case, I see you're being held on a felony.
Lo voy a dejar en libertad en cuanto a este caso. Estoy viendo que lo están deteniendo por un delito mayor.
Your next hearing date is going to be on November 1st at 9 a.m. in Tucson City Court.
Próxima audiencia a las 9 de la mañana, el 1 de noviembre, en el Tribunal de la Ciudad.
Thank you, sir. You're excused.
Muchas gracias, señor. Se puede retirar.
Thank you, interpreter. You're excused.
Good evening, Your Honor.
Good evening. What is your full name, please?
Enrique Bringas.
All right. You have two separate felony charges, both from today's date. One's a disorderly conduct with a deadly weapon. The other charge is promoting prison contraband. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. Let you know that you do have a constitutional right to remain silent to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Mr. Poston?
Your Honor, the state is looking at in this case, $7,500 bond. We've got prison contraband, and this was preceded by the defendant threatening unprovokedly folks at a Safeway. And then after he was taken into the jail, they found a vape in his undergarments and a syringe secreted on his body. This is the sort of thing that the state is concerned about, because every time there's an overdose in jail, this is the sort of thing that needs to be stopped. $7,500.
Defense counsel.
Attorney, Your Honor.
Hold on.
What I would like to say, Your Honor, is that I went ahead and I was cooperative completely when I was speaking with the police. Actually, I was first looked at a Circle K right near the Safeway, and I was actually run over by a vehicle, and I didn't press any charges.
Mr. Bringas-Galaz, when you talk to one, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent. You can talk to your attorney about your statements and your concerns and anything you'd like to discuss with them. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out what your bond amount, and I'd like to hear from the attorney in this case. Defense counsel?
He had just indicated he didn't want me to represent him, so I don't know if you want to overrule that order, Your Honor, but that was his initial request.
All right, I just want to hear from you, defense counsel.
Okay. Your Honor, so we're actually asking for his release. So there's a little bit more to the story that is in the interim complaint that I think the state left out. The officer notes that he actually watches the video camera, and in the camera, the victim is the one who flicks a cigarette at Enrique and has a knife out. And that's when the altercation begins. So I actually don't even think Enrique is the initial aggressor. I don't know that his behavior was necessarily justified, but sounds like there's a lot more to this story. This is also considered a nonviolent offense. He doesn't have any felony priors, Your Honor. He doesn't have an active NBCA flag. Regarding the promoting prison contraband, that's always something they find. It's impossible to hide that getting into the jail. And oftentimes law enforcement will give people the option to just tell them where it is so that they don't have to add these charges when they get to the jail. But it's not something that's causing the overdoses like the state is implying. So given that, we'd be asking that you release him to pretrial services. He would be the level 3 supervision, so they'd be able to keep a close eye on him.
Mr. Bringas-Galaz, your bond set at $5,000. No contact with the victim. Don't go back to the incident location. Possession of firearms or weapons. Legal advocate office is appointed to represent you. October 14th at 1:30 is your preliminary hearing. You are excused. Thank you.
Hello.
What is your full name, sir?
Eric Miles, Eric Edward Miles.
I'm sorry, say your name again?
Eric Edward Miles.
Thank you. You are charged with unlawful possession of narcotic drug, unlawful possession of a dangerous drug. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. I need to let you know that you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. I see you have a probation hold on you. I'll hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation. Mr. Pawson?
Your Honor, the state proposes the $1,500 bond, so he'll get time credit whilst being held on his other matters.
Defense counsel?
I don't have an objection to that.
Mr. Miles, I'll set your bond at $1,000. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. Your SMART hearing is set for October 10th at 9 a.m. Your preliminary hearing is October 14th at 1:30 p.m. Your attorney will be in touch with you soon. Thank you. Good evening. What is your full name, sir?
Robert Guy Strider Stroud.
All right. Looks like you had a felony warrant for your arrest out of Maricopa County for 3 charges. Charges of unlawful possession of narcotic drug, unlawful possession of a dangerous drug, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. The alleged incident date was from September 19th of 2022. I'm going to quash the warrant, enter pleas of not guilty. Maricopa County is asking that I set a bond of $2,500 in your case. I want to let you know that you do have a right to remain silent and to be represented by an attorney. An attorney out of Maricopa County will be appointed when you appear in that court. Defense counsel?
Your Honor, we're actually asking that you release him. He wasn't picked up on new charges. These are from 2022, as you noted. They're personal possession cases. He's already entered into a probation available plea. It sounds like he's been in contact with his attorney in Mesa. It's just the scheduling of the quashing the warrant that hasn't been working out. But he does have housing. He has employment. He got pulled over this morning for a traffic citation, which is how he got picked up on the warrant. But he hasn't had any priors. He hasn't had anything since this particular incident. So that's over 2 years ago. So given those factors, Your Honor, we're asking that you give him a chance to just be out in the community and go handle this, especially because he is already entered into a plea. He's ready to take responsibility and take care.
Mr. Stroud, your bond set at $2,500. Looks like you failed to appear for your sentencing hearing in this case.
Yes.
I'm going to have a review hearing here in Pima County on November 4th at 9 a.m. to see if you're still in custody. But what's going to happen is the jail there will let Maricopa County know that you are now in custody and they can come and get you. Thank you. You're excused.
All right. Hello.
What is your full name, sir? You are charged with unlawful possession of a drug paraphernalia charge. I'm an inner plea of not guilty. Let you know that you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. I see you have a Department of Corrections hold on you, and the state was recommending release to pretrial services. Defense counsel, did you want him released to pretrial services or a small bond?
We're asking for a $100 bond for the time credit.
Thank you. Your bond, Mr. Valenzuela, is set at $100. Your first hearing is called a SMART hearing. It is set for October 10th at 9 a.m. Your preliminary hearing is October 14th at 1:30 p.m. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. You also, sir, have a misdemeanor charge for shoplifting from today's date. I'm going to enter a plea of not guilty. Release you. Don't go back to that store location. Your next hearing date in Sahuarita is October 29th at 8:30 a.m. And I'll let them know that you're currently in custody. Thank you. You're excused. What is your full name, sir?
Hold
on a second. County Attorney, do you agree that he's eligible for steps?
Yes.
All right. So, Mr. Valenzuela, you've been arrested and accused of the crime of unlawful possession of a dangerous drug, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You may be eligible to participate in a diversion program called STEPS that only requires you to participate in a plan specific to your needs for a short time. If you choose to participate and complete the program, these felony drug accusations in your arrest report will be permanently dismissed without you ever being formally charged. Are you interested in learning more about the STEPS program at your next hearing date and getting out of jail custody today?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to release you to the supervision of pretrial services. You must comply with any monitored treatment as directed by pretrial services. You are not allowed to drink any alcohol or take any illegal drugs, and you certainly cannot be in possession of any illegal drugs. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. And Defense Counsel, you waive your time limits for the preliminary hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, your first hearing is a speak, sir, October 10th at 9 a.m. You must be present for this hearing date. If you're not present, a warrant could issue for your arrest, and you will no longer be eligible for that special drug program. Your preliminary hearing is set November 8th at 1:30 p.m. Mr. Valenzuela, you also had a warrant for your arrest out of South Tucson for charges involving 2 counts of drug paraphernalia and consuming alcohol in public. The alleged incident date was from March 5th of 2024. I'm going to quash the warrant, release you. Your next court date in Sahuarita is going to be October 22nd at 10 a.m. And actually, there's another case involving criminal trespass. So both cases are in South Tucson. You've got to make sure you appear for both dates. For that date. You also had a case at a justice court for criminal trespass in the 3rd degree. I'm going to enter a plea of not guilty. Release you. November 4th at 8:30 a.m. is your next court date in justice court. And you're not allowed to go back to 615 North Park Avenue. You are excused, sir. Thank you. And everyone's excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.